Here is another practice test on Chapter 6. And again, a problem like this, you study it, look at it, and then it's in point-slope form, as we see one of our formulas here. And they're asking you to pick out the slope and the one-ordered pair. Well, we look to see what's in the M position, which is 3/4. And then we're looking for what is our X value, what is our Y value, keeping in mind that it's the reverse of the signs that we see here. So our X value here would be a -2, and our Y value here would be a +3. And that's what you see as the answer. So in this next part, they're asking you to plot this point, -2, 3. So we go over 2, up 1. And now we want from that point a slope of 3/4. So we're going to go over our run, 1, 2, 3, 4, and now up 3. 1, 2, 3. So we put a dot right there. And again, slope is rise over run. And if it's positive, you do your X value to the right and then up. Now there are other ways to do it. And of course, then the line forms. So there is our original point, -2, 3. We've gone over 4 and up 3, and there's our new point. And that is correct. Now in this example, we're asked to look at this equation, and we note it's in the y-intercept form. So whatever is in the M position is going to be the slope. So that's a -3. And whatever's in the B position, that's going to be your y-intercept, but they want it as an ordered pair. So that would be x, 8. Now, they do give it to you in this form, and of course, this is the correct answer. Now, they're asking us to graph this. Notice they've put the y-intercept in there already as 8. But now we have to graph our slope on here, keeping in mind that it's a negative slope. So we're going to go over 1 this way to the left and then up. Now we've run out of graph room, so we can also go over 1 this way and then down 3. 1, 2, 3. And that will give us a straight line, but we need to put in this ordered pair. So the ordered pair of this is a 1, 5. And then our line will form. And here they're showing it. We still have a mark left from before. Okay. Again, pause is needed. You want to master these skills. Now here we're asked to graph these 2 points just by moving the dot and placing it. Well, again, it's an ordered pair. So we go, let's see here. For A, it would be 3, 7, so over 3, 1, 2, 3, and then up 7, and then dropping the point. And for B, it would be 7 to the right, and then -2 down. All right, so well done. Here we are asked to identify these points. So A, starting at our origin, going left, 1, 2, 3, that would be a -3, and then up 2. And B would be going to the right 2, and then down 3, -3. So these are pretty straightforward. So for something like this is a little challenging. As we look at it, we see it's in standard form. Now, you could get rid of the fractions, but let's try it with the fractions. Because in solving for the intercepts that they're asking for down here, we should make an x and y intercept t-chart. Now, as you put for your x value a 0 here, because 0 times this is 0, we're just going to solve for y, which will be a 7. And then we're going to divide by a -4. So that's the easy one, and that's what they have here. But the other is a little more challenging, and let's just work that out in some detail. So if y now is 0, this is going to be a 0. -4 times 0 is 0. We just have this. Now, a good technique is to multiply both sides by 7. And then now we don't have fractions anymore. So we have 10x equals 49. We divide both sides by 10 now. And our x value is 49/10. And of course our y value here is 0. And those are the answers. Just a little work with fractions, not too bad, remembering your skills from chapter 5. Now, for this one, it's an inequality. We solve it just like an equation. We're going to take our -2, bring it over to this side as a +2. And -8 and +2 is -6. So now we have 2x is less than that. Now to get x by itself, we're going to divide by the numerical coefficient, and we get x is less than -3. Now they want the answer in interval notation. Well, if I were a student, I'd make a little graph of this. This is a -3. What do I use here? A parenthesis or a bracket? And in which direction does it go? Well, it says x is less, so we're going to have it go this way and then thicken. And this would be the graph. Now, how do I put that in interval notation? Well, out here, remember, is -infinity. So parenthesis always for infinity, -infinity, up to -3, and then with a parenthesis. And that's the answer. Now on the next slide, we're going to put that in the form that they want. So the first thing you have to do then is, what combination do you want? Well, you want this one, which is 2 parentheses. And then you're going to drag it over to a -3, and then drag it over to infinity, and then this comes up. So again, pause it, study it. This is not too difficult to do. Now in this next question, they're asking us to consider the following: y-intercept and slope. Write it in slope-intercept form. Well, again, remembering what this basic equation looks like, they're giving you the slope, so y equals, there's our slope, 2x, and there's our y-intercept, a -1. So again, if you know your formulas, it's easy to do substitution. They now want us to graph it. So using that special technique, we put in a -1, our y-intercept. Our slope is positive, 2 over 1. So this is run, and the 2 is rise. So we go over 1, since it's positive, to the right, up 2. There's our second point, and then the line forms. Now in this next one, again, we had one like this already. This one's a little easier. It's in standard form. They want us to find the intercepts. So we make our X and Y intercept t-chart. So this one's easy. If this is 0, when we solve for Y, we're going to get a -4/9. So this was 0. We're just dividing both sides by 9. Now if Y is 0, we're going to divide both sides by 3. This is a -4/3. And that's what we put in, and the graph forms. Again, the use of this t-chart, I think, is very good. And of course, your skills at solving equations from Chapter 5. As we look at this next example, you might say, which formula does it represent? Is it closer to slope-intercept or to the point-slope form? Well, here, this is y, but this side doesn't look like that. This side looks more like this. So once again, we're faced with, we're going to use this formula, because what would our y value be that would end up with nothing being there? Well, it would be y minus 0, all right, equals 1/3. Now x minus 1 is what we have here. So this is actually a modified point-slope form. So what is our ordered pair? We're asked to figure that out, and then what is our slope? Well, our slope is easy, that's 1/3. But the ordered pair now for our x value, and again, opposite sign will be a 1, and our y value, we said, was 0. So this is actually the x-intercept that we're seeing here, and that's what we have as an answer. Now in this next slide, we're asked to graph it. So there's our point, and they gave it to us right there. We now have to just put in this positive slope. So 3 units, 1, 2, 3, for run, and then 1 unit up for rise, and it puts us right here. Now what is the ordered pair for that? Well, that would be 4, 1. And then our graph forms. And there you see it. Again, pause as often as needed. Study. You want to master these techniques. Now, in this case, you're asked to solve this inequality. And again, try to keep your variable positive. So I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides, or transpose it. So I get 2x here. I'm going to transpose the positive 5 to this side, becomes a -5, so that gives me a -10. Now I'm going to divide by 2. I get x is less than -5. But they want the answer in interval notation. So again, I would suggest you draw a graph. There's your -5. X is less only, so you put a parenthesis facing left. Draw your arrow and thicken this line here. Now, how do you write that in interval notation? Well, it's coming from -infinity going up to a -5, and it's a parenthesis, and that is the answer. Now, they're going to ask you to graph it again, keeping in mind this is what you have written up on your blue sheet. You will choose, again, a set of parentheses that comes up here, drag it to a -5, and the other to -infinity. But again, you have the work on your paper. Now on this one, they're just asking whether or not this ordered pair makes this statement, which is in standard form, a true statement. So where the x is, you substitute the 2. Where the y is, you substitute the -3. And you go 5 times 2 is 10. -3 times 3 is a -9. Does that equal 1? Yes. So the answer is yes. Now, some of these are real easy, but again, take your time, double check your work. You want to get as many points as possible. Here we're looking at another ordered pair. Again, set it up this way. Put the -1 here, the 2 there. Now this is a -5. This is going to be a +6. Does that equal 1? Well, yes. So some easy ones. Now for this one, we're asked to find an equation of a line that is parallel to this equation. So this is in slope-intercept form, and we know the slope then is a -1/3. So if we use slope-intercept, and we know the slope is a -1/3, and we know that we want it to go through a 3, -4, if we multiply this one by a 3 for the x here, and our y is going to be a -4, we're just substituting into this equation. Now, you might say, well, I have to multiply through by 3. Not here, because here the 3's actually cancel out. So you're left with a -4 equals a -1 plus b. So you transpose this -1, makes this a -3 equals b. So what will our new equation be? Y equals, we know the slope already, -1/3 x, but our new b value will be a -3. So this would be the equation of the line that is parallel to this. And notice if you plot that, it's going to go right here. Okay. And it goes over and then down. There's different ways to do it. You can also do it this way and go up. And that would make a nice line there. And we see the answer down here. But this was the protocol in getting to it. Now again, you can watch this more than once. You can write them out, then try it and see if you get the answers. And of course, make your own practice test as well. All right.